Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. This is Before the Box Score. We're getting ready for Mississippi State. Closing the book on Texas A&M. Boo, that was bad and sad. Don't talk about that anymore. Let's talk about good potential things like the most likely win left on Missouri's schedule. Nathan Hurst, how are you doing?
I'm looking forward to the future, not back in the past. I'm living presently and not pastly. That's how I am.
Do not live pastly. Yes, that is good.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. You know, Eli has been kind of in the news this weekend, first 3 days of the week. Not only kind of from the fallout of A&M and Mizzou fans getting awfully roasty about Eli Drinkwitz here, but also his comments in the media. And so I know, our show, our post Texas A&M show was probably a little bit more negative than most of our shows are, especially for, me self-professing not caring about the losses and then going off on a 45-minute tirade about play calling and ill-prepared quarterbacks. I want to make it clear, Eli Drinkwitz should not be fired. And really, Kirby Moore probably shouldn't be fired either. They just need to reassess how they do things. And I feel like, Mizzou fans were not used to taking losses like this. And so you just get very, very pitchforky and you start firing everybody. That's not going to do you any good. It's really not. Eli Drinkwitz is a great coach. He's on par with Gary Pinkel. Gary Pinkel's big strong thing was that he did not lose to teams that he shouldn't lose to. And now he also didn't beat the teams that he couldn't beat. They're very similar in their records against top 10 opponents and top SP plus opponents. But boy, beat the teams you're supposed to beat and win 8 or 9 games a year. And that's how you are the wins record holder at Mizzou. And that's how you can just consistently set yourself up for success. Hurst, I feel like we're on the same page on this one, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, anyone who is suggesting that Eli Drinkwitz shouldn't be the coach here, or it would be just fine and dandy if he were to choose to move on to another job, that is short-sighted at best. To be kind, that could be called short-sighted. Silly, I think is the word that I would probably choose to describe. He has been an outstanding coach at Mizzou. He has far and away exceeded his predecessor, exceeded what the vast majority of what media fans expected when he was hired, both Mizzou fans and fans of other SEC teams, media nationally. The fact that his name is being brought up continuously for these blue blood jobs is evidence enough. Penn State, Florida, LSU, Auburn. His name is being brought up and brought up in a joking way, brought up as a serious candidate for all these jobs. And that, if nothing else, is indication that he has done a very good job. He has a very good staff. Now there can be frustrations, and those have been expressed on this show even before I was a part of it, in terms of some of the decisions, in-game decisions made, some of the overall way that he chooses to conduct in-game and his strategies going into the game, especially offensively. And yeah, a lot of those frustrations are valid, and it can, potentially be improved upon. I think that's what makes him so frustrating, is that there's such a clear area that can be improved, and it's not an impossible improvement. But he checks all the boxes of the things that you have to have in a coach to succeed. He checks all his boxes and exceeded a lot of those. He's a great recruiter. He's a great culture builder, a great CEO of a program. He can motivate his team. He can motivate donors and alumni. He can motivate the state legislature. And those are the things that you have to have in modern day college football. And he does those things well. Now, in-game strategy, that is where you bring in a strong staff. And I think for the most part, he has a strong staff. But those are the things, those are the quibbling things. And those are things that are much more volatile year to year, game to game, play to play, based on the execution of 18-year-old players. Yes. So, yeah, he's about as good a coach as Mizzou can expect to ever have, to be honest. If he were to leave, who are you getting that's going to be as good as him? Now, maybe you could spin a wheel and get really lucky, like they kind of did when they hired him in the first place. But those chances of that are very low, and you're much more likely to end up on a long line of what like Arkansas is dealing with right now, where it's kind of one unfortunate hire after another for a long string. And that Mizzou is much closer to that than they are, hiring a winner every single time.
Yep. Hires of any kind are a coin flip. You never know what's going to happen, certainly in college football. And yeah, Mizzou got very lucky with Eli, and that he was kind of able to reach his potential here and help Mizzou reach his potential too. There's anger, there's like post-game anger, and then there's sustained anger, and I'm not quite understanding the sustained part. Like, if you have a problem with how Eli Drinkwitz is winning games, then you probably had a problem with Gary Pinkel and how he won games. And I'm also assuming you probably look back on the Pinkel years pretty fondly. So I would we're going to chill. We're going to be okay. I think everybody could be better, especially from what we saw in A&M, but that does not mean you gotta throw everything out. And to that point, Eli Drinkwitz has been on the national media stage recently, specifically talking about the playoff and how college football talk about individual teams seems to just boil down to playoff or nothing. And he's very much in the camp of, look, there's 136 teams. There's 12 that make it to the playoff. That means there's a bunch of other teams that are still having good seasons, even if they don't make it in the playoff. And I'll say he's right. That you could use that as say, oh, he's coping so hard. He had 2 really easy schedules that he wasn't able to get into, so get the playoff in. So he's just trying to cope super hard. Sure, I guess if you want to view it that way, that's fine. If you're tired of the coach speak of, oh, you just got to keep, pressing on the rock. You got to, you crush the rock. The 99 swing is going to be it. And with all the 98 before that, like, I know that's not what you want to hear. But truly, in college football, just acquire the best talent that you can and keep trotting out, and at some point you're going to get lucky. And if you're in Ohio State or in Alabama or Texas, your luck is a lot a faster sine wave than maybe in Missouri or in Indiana. But you just keep doing it. You just keep putting out the best team that you can and hope for the best, and the schedule will figure it out along its way. I'm not going to sit here, Hurst, and say that I watch every bowl. I mean, that wasn't true during the BCS era. It's certainly not true now. But to his point, I mean, do you feel like a 8, 9, or 10 win season is mitigated because there's a playoff that's expanded and you didn't get in?
An 8-win season, perhaps. But also it entirely depends on whether the expectations going into the season. If Mizzou last year, with legitimate playoff expectations, had won 8 games, that would have been a disappointment. With the amount of talent that they had returned from a very, very surprisingly good 2023 team, and then they go out and only win 8 games, that would have been a disappointment. They didn't. They won 10 games. And no, I said this last year. I will say it until I'm red in the face every year. A 10-win season at Mizzou is a success no matter what. This year, the expectation was 7 or 8 wins. If you looked at the Vegas over/under number at the start of the year, it was 6.5, 7 wins. They were already at 6. 1 more will get them right at that Vegas number. 2 more, which is very much on the table, would get them over what the Vegas odds makers thought it would be. And those guys don't miss very much. So that's a success. This was a rebuilding year. We thought from the very beginning this was going to be a rebuilding year. We knew the defense was going to be strong, but we knew the offense was going to be a work in progress. And guess what? It ended up exactly where we are right now.
That's right.
And if you were to start the season in August and told me and probably told you that Mizzou would be 6-3 going to the Mississippi State game, we would have signed up for that every single time. Now you can look at how it turned out and the opportunities that this team ended up having to make the playoff, and they didn't really seize those opportunities, but they also lost to 3 top 10 at the time teams to do that. There's a reason those teams are top 10. They are really, really good. And so there's no shame in losing to Alabama ever. There's no shame to losing a top 3 Texas A&M team. There's no shame on going on the road and losing to a top 10 team, whether or not their name is Vanderbilt or not. They haven't lost to anyone else in Nashville this year. So there's no shame in that. So 6-3 in a rebuilding year. That's where we're going to be. Do we wish the team was better and making the playoff this year? Absolutely. But relative to the expectations, this is what it is. And if this team goes on to win 8, 9 games, that is a success for this team
Mhm.
for this year. Now, if they return all their studs who can return next year and bring in some more portal guys, and the expectations is, wow, look at this team. This could be a 10 or 11 win team, and they win 8 games again, then that would be a disappointment. But it is all based on, it's all relative. Year to year, and this modern college football is relative. Unless you are at Alabama or Ohio State, where you expect, and there's no excuse not to make the playoff every single year. You're not going to do it every year, and winning 8-9 games is good for Mizzou. That's good. That is good.
Yep. I mean, if you don't like the bowl, don't watch it. Bowls are mostly meaningless.
Yeah.
Look at the pretty number in the win column. That's the thing that you got to think about. Because it doesn't happen all that often at Mizzou, and most programs in the country. So you should definitely celebrate the good things when you can. You'd prefer to be in the playoff, but if not, hey, still what are 27 wins in 3 years right now, and you could win the last 3. I don't think it's going to happen, but you could.
Or win 2 in a bowl game, and you're sitting at 30 wins.
Yeah,
30 wins in 3 years. No Mizzou team has won 30 wins in 30 games in 3 years. So that's pretty freaking awesome. I'm not sure how many have won 27 in 3 years, and we're not even done with the season.
2007 to 2009 might have.
Yeah, they might. They got,
because I was
12
and 2, 10 and 4. That's 22, and then they went 8 and 5.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's
22.
30.
That's 30, and that was the best 3-year stretch in the program. It's history. Yeah. So that is on the table this season to tie that.
Absolutely is. Yeah. Man. Wow. Can be done. Don't rule it out. Celebrate the wins when you can get them. Speaking of which, hi, Mississippi State. You have one SEC win in the past year and a half. You've also been in 5 one-score games and lost 3 of them this year. Like, you're actually kind of scary this year, which is unfortunate. But Mizzou does get the medal at home, so you are eligible to win. It is senior night, so you're going to be amped up to win. They're going to create a little rock M just in case the seniors win and they can get a rock. That's fun. I don't know who's responsible for putting that together. That sucks, but very cool for the players. I know after the A&M game, that show, I talked about Missouri never winning another football game this year. I want to back off that a little bit. They absolutely can win this game, but it requires them to do the one thing that we have not seen Kirby Moore do, except for that one time when it was super hot and they all wanted to go home. Run the ball 50 times. Run the ball 50 times. This is the 118th best rushing defense in the country. If you didn't learn anything from A&M, Kirby, the lesson you should learn is to run the ball when you have a third-string freshman quarterback and these 2 running backs. So, Hurst, is he going to do it? Can we win this game?
I think he has to do it. I don't think there is a choice. No sane human being could watch what happened last week against a much better run defense, admittedly. But much better defense in general. Watch what happened last week and then come into this week with a similar game plan against a defense that is much worse against the run. You would obviously want to run against a team that is 118th because you know you can do it. But especially when you've got a third-string quarterback who struggled. He struggled last week. Now, will he struggle that bad this week? Hopefully not. And I wouldn't expect him necessarily to, because Mississippi State does not have the same kaiju pass rushing fleet that Texas A&M had. They've got SEC athletes, so it's not like they're just throwing out a bunch of schmoes out there. But it's not Texas A&M. But they can make it a lot easier on him by running the ball, as you said, 50 times. That would mean he would then only have to throw the ball 15 times, and that's the ratio that you want. You want him throwing it 15 times, 10 of those on 2nd and 1 would be great. Take a lot of pressure off of him. And yeah, I mean, if Ahmad Hardy doesn't have 25 carries and he's healthy at the end of the game, that is going to be a problem. That is going to be a major problem. And I have to think that would come down from the top, not just from Kirby Moore, but there's no way that Eli Drinkwitz can watch this game and prepare for this game and not want 20 for Roberts, 25 for Hardy, another 5 for, a smattering of receivers, or maybe Zollers keeps a zone read once or twice. But yeah, 50. I think 50 is the number. You nailed it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Louisiana. Mizzou attempted 26 passes if you count the sacks. 15 of 22 for Prbula, 2 for 2 for Zollers. And then they ran it 59 times for 442 yards. Now, you're not doing that from a production standpoint, but that is exactly what you have to do from a play management standpoint. So yeah, that's the key. 50 to 60 runs and then less than 25 passes, ideally. Yeah, I mean, it's so wild to see this Mississippi State defense. Like, when you look at when you're looking down at the breakdown of who these guys are and where they've been, like, there's so many graduate students and seniors that start for this team, especially on the defense, and all of the old dudes are on the line, and they got a couple of younger guys in the secondary. Their secondary is actually okay. It's like 58th against the pass, which, you're not winning, any kind of defensive awards for that, but it's better than 118th. And all their old dudes are on the line and they stink. And all the younger guys are in the secondary and they're actually pretty good. And unranked. A lot of these guys are like transferred up from FCS or, G5 squads. So I'm not going to pretend to understand it, but opponents have figured out how to beat this Mississippi State squad. You run on them and then you turn them over a couple times on offense and then you have them freak out. Blake Shapen and Kamario Taylor. Those are the names of Mississippi State's quarterbacks. One of whom has been playing since pre-COVID, used to play for Baylor. The other one's a younger guy who the Mississippi State beat writers love him. I think the fans love him too, but he is clearly the backup. Who would you prefer take the snaps? The flawed old senior who knows the system really well, or the ever kryptonite to Missouri football, the backup quarterback?
Yeah, I would say probably Blake Shapen because you know what you're getting. He's easier to prepare for because you've seen him play 18 games, 16 games for Mississippi State in this system, because he did miss half the year last year. And they actually did not play against him last year. He was out last year, so they have not played against him, but they know what he can do and they know how he is used within that offense. Even if he's I think probably a better passer right now than Kamario is, he's a known quantity and you can prepare him more. We don't know what Kamario Taylor is. He's thrown the ball 19 times. His, 11 for 19. So it's not like, or 10 for 19, 56% completion percentage. So he, not incredible, much better athlete than Shapen. We know that he runs the ball. He has 200 rushing yards on 34 carries. Hasn't been sacked. Shapen has been sacked a lot. So he may be a better passer, but he's also much more susceptible to getting run down in the pocket. And that's where this defense is at its best. So give me Shapen. He left the game last week, I believe, with a concussion against Georgia. He is listed as of an hour ago as probable for this week. So there's a good chance he will play. Now, will he start and finish the game? No. But I would be very surprised if he didn't start.
Yeah. So my boss is a former college defensive coordinator. He'll always drop these nuggets once a week on his old profession. And he said that one time he was going up against a really good quarterback. The dude was a dog. It was D2, but he was one of the better quarterbacks in the league, probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country. He had this game plan for him. He's like, all right, it's going to be tough. We'll figure it out. Great passer. We're going to figure it out. And the first drive, he got hit underneath the chin, concussion, out for the game. I was like, all right, let's go. Who's the backup? It's this 5'8", 170-pound kid. I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to kill this guy. The dude did not know the playbook, and it actually worked because he would misdo the reads and the handoffs, and he'd keep when he was supposed to hand off. He would have stuffed it if he handed it off, but he scooted off to the side, and then we weren't prepared, and he wasn't running the offense like they should, and he just started basically improv, and he couldn't figure out how to stop it. He had 2 quarters live to stop him, and he couldn't figure it out, and they lost. playing the backup quarterback sucks. To your point, you don't know what they're going to do. Now, it takes some luck on their part because they are the backup for a reason. But if you can be a little chaos agent and keep them on their heels. Tyler Macon against Georgia, 2020. Do you remember that? Remember when they started him?
I remember Mizzou was beating him for about 2 minutes.
I've never seen Georgia's defense so mad that they could not catch this guy because he was not doing anything correct other than scooting around and just like making it up as he went on. And like they figured it out eventually because it's Georgia. But like for an entire half, they did not know what to do with him. And it was so frustrating for them. And yeah, that's the misery of having to go up against a backup, or at least somebody doesn't have a ton of film. So yeah, I'll take Shapen all day. I know he can carve you up. I know he knows this offense really well. To your point, yeah, he likes to get hit a lot too. And I think Damon Wilson and Zion Young are a little antsy to hit some quarterbacks since Marcel Reed was very, very selfish and threw the ball away in like a second. Didn't give him a shot to play. So we need to get that happening. What do you know about Fluff Bothwell, other than the fact that it might be the best named running back in the country?
It was a smaller frame dude, pretty good, as running backs go. Solid. I don't think he's not a breakaway speed demon by any means. I think he's just a solid, kind of low to the ground, tough to bring down, bowling ball sort of guy. Not particularly scary in and of himself, but the Mississippi State run game is good as a whole.
That's their thing.
He splits carries with can't remember his name off the top of my head. They have another running back they split carries with. Then, as mentioned, Kamari Taylor also runs when he's in the game and averages 6 yards a carry just about himself. So they do have a good running game. They've rushed for 1,300 yards, which isn't quite what Mizzou has rushed for, but they're pretty balanced across the board.
Yeah, it's so weird because you think Jeff Lebby and you think, well, I think garbage human rate protector, but other than that, from a football standpoint, I do think Art Briles. And Briles was the no huddle, hurry up, like run to pass. Like run is all your efficiency plays. The pass is therefore explosive plays. And that's exactly what Lebby likes to do. He likes to just go really fast. I think they're what did I say in the piece? Fifth fastest team in the country, I think. A lot of possessions, about 12 to 13 per game. They're running 70, 80 plays a game, ideally. That's not how Missouri defense likes to play. It's not how Missouri's offense likes to play. So they're going to try and speed you up. They're going to be patient with their explosive plays and try to hit it through the air. So if you can bottle up the run and force them to throw it more, that's a little bit more of a high variance option because, again, Mizzou is prone to explosive pass plays and Mississippi State's good at making them, but they're also very inaccurate when they get to the passing game. So you kind of want to push them off their efficiency and hope that inefficiency hits for 3 downs and then it's a punt and then you can keep going. So it's going to be kind of a clash of styles, and I don't think that's going to be very fun, especially if Mississippi State's allowed to play the game that they want to play. If you can knock them off schedule and drag them into the mud, that's ideally what you want to do, which is what they were able to do last year. But yeah, you mentioned the Blake Shapen injury report. I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't also mention that Bo Pribula, in the face of God, is listed as doubtful with his dislocated ankle. What are we supposed to make of that?
I mean, I don't think there's any way in the world that he will actually play this week, but I think it's a hint that he may be available, if not next week, then the week following that. I don't know how a human could recover in that fast. I know I would probably be in a wheelchair for months, but my guess is them even bothering to move him to doubtful. Maybe that means he would be an emergency backup as opposed to a Tommy lock. If the game was close, it also maybe is a little bit of gamemanship where like, oh, well, we're going to put him on here. He's not going to play, so we'll put him as doubtful. But at least Mississippi State has to at least think about preparing for a Bo Pribula package, if you will. There's a lot of things it could be. I think it's a little smattering of all 3 of those. I would be very surprised. if we see him at all, if he's even suited up. I would probably expect by Friday he'll be listed as out again. But it shows that he's recovering and that it's not impossible for him to get back on the field before the end of the season.
Okay. So I don't remember what the rules are. If you list someone as doubtful, do you have to dress them?
I think by a certain time of the week. I think maybe, I don't think a Wednesday you don't, but I think
no, but like by Friday.
Friday, I think so. But it also, they're playing at home. There's no real limit on the number of players that they can dress. This isn't the NFL where you've got a 53-man roster. So, okay, he puts on a jersey and then sits on the bench just like he would have without a jersey on. That wouldn't make a difference.
See, that was my follow-up question. What counts as dressing? Like, do you have to put pads on, or can you just put your jersey on and sit? Like,
if that's the rule, then okay, throw on the pads and sit on the bench. I don't see that as being
move. What a dick move that was.
It's really not much of trying to, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. You're not keeping people from doing that. Now, I think there is also, like, you can't, I guess you could have someone get hurt in warm-ups who is listed as playing, and then they would not suit out if they, let's say, tear their ACL in warm-ups. But otherwise, I think if you're listed as playing, you probably have to suit out too. So that said, you really don't have a limit on the number of players you can suit out. So it's not like you're taking someone else's spot. It's really you're not keeping people from messing a little bit, at least with the whole system.
Look, I'm not never been an athlete. I'm certainly not 21 anymore. I know that the prognostics of like, oh, hey, he's out for the season, or he's out for 6 weeks. Oh, he could come back. Like, I know there's been some improvement on the time frame to recover from this. Don't push it, man. Don't push it. Bo's parents, please don't let him push it. Don't push him. We don't need him to come back this bad to go from 7 wins to 8 wins. Okay, like that's not going to be worth it. And if it's worth it more for him to recover fully so that he can play next year, either for us or someone else, like let's take that path instead. But if he's truly like going to John Mateer this thing and have a injury that should knock you out for a substantial amount of time and have you come back in, a miracle amount of time, like, okay, I just hope everybody is consenting and aware of what's going on. That's all.
Yeah. I can't imagine that Prbula, as listed as doubtful, is going to be as good an option as a healthy Matt Zollers, even as much as we saw him struggle. I think what we saw last week shows that a healthy Prbula is a better option right now, for sure.
Yeah.
But a one-legged Prbula, no, and a 1.5-legged Prbula, that's where we start. That's where you start wondering. And so when does he reach that 1.5 legs versus when does he get to that threshold? And then can the coaches adequately compare the two to see who's going to be the best bet at that point?
Okay. So let's power rank this. 2-legged Bo Prbula, number 1 with a bullet, right?
Yeah.
Matt Zollers, number 2. Of your available quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Behind a fully healthy Bo Prbula.
Yeah.
Matt Zollers would be 2. A 1.5-leg Bo Prbula, is that better than Zollers or worse than Zollers?
It's really hard to say. I mean, based on what we saw last week, it's hard to say.
He likes to run. That's the thing.
What makes him effective is his running ability. And it's not like we've really seen him thrive in the pocket lately either. Because he likes to bail out, in my opinion, way too early a lot of the time. And if he can't really do that, I mean, maybe forcing him to stay in the pocket because he physically can't leave. Maybe that's the secret sauce. I don't know. I think I probably would lean Zollers until he's like 1 3/4 legged Prbula. Then at that point, where you can expect him to be able to at least run 80% around, then I'd probably go with him at this point.
We're gonna LinkedIn brain this. Here's how my dislocated ankle actually improved my career. No. Okay, so we got fully healthy Bo Prbula, fully healthy Matt Zollers. 1.5 leg. Bo Prabula is probably right below Zollers, but really, really close.
Yeah.
And then you go Wildcat Jamal Roberts, and then you go Brett Brown and Tommy Law. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would probably go Brett Brown over 100% Wildcat, but you would incorporate some Wildcat in there.
Yeah.
And that's going solely on the one quarter of spring game I saw last year with Brett Brown, where he didn't look incompetent. I'll say.
And the 3 snaps this year against Louisiana, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he ran for 3 yards.
Yeah. He moves around pretty well. He's not tall. I think he's 5'9" or 5'10", small guy. But you at least have to have the defense think that you might consider passing. But if Jamal Roberts is taking the snap every time, that's not going to happen. So, but I would put that at like number 4 option below one-legged Prabula.
Well, hopefully we never have to figure out where exactly 1.5.
Hopefully Bo keeps both his legs on his body.
That's what I'm hoping. Tommy Locke is listed at 6'3", 177, and then Brett Brown, where'd he go? Well, I had him. I don't know. I know he is a little bit more vertically challenged than the others, but okay. Yeah, the website says he's 6'1", 180.
That is a bald-faced lie.
Yeah, whatever.
If he's 6'1", I'm 6 foot, and that is also a bald-faced lie.
That's okay. You can be whatever you want on the Missouri Athletics website. You can even be 6'1".
Yeah.
Predictions. What do we think is going to happen here?
This is a tough one because you alluded to earlier, Mississippi State, they have one SEC win in 2 years, but this year they have been very, very competitive in almost all of their games. They got blown out by A&M. Okay. But that was a 7-3 game at halftime. And we all know A&M is a second half team, so they blew them out in the second half.
Clearly.
But they should have beaten Tennessee, but blew it at the end and lost in overtime. They should have beaten Florida, but they blew it at the end and threw an interception when they shouldn't have been throwing it at all because they were in field goal range to kick a field goal to win. They should have beat Texas, but they blew a 21-point, or it was a 3-score lead in the fourth quarter and lost in overtime. They did beat Arkansas, and that was just who could be less competent than the other. And then Georgia, they got blown out. So that's 3 SEC games. They not only could have won, but should have won, but they found ways to blow it. I think that we're probably going to be more on that end of the spectrum than the A&M Georgia blowout end of the spectrum, just based on the struggles offensively that we've already talked about. But I do think that provided that they run the ball, and 50 is the number they need to shoot for, but if Mizzou runs the ball 40 times, they will win this game. That's the threshold to win the game. If they can run the ball 40 times, they will win the game. It's not going to be a blowout. I think it'll be a little higher scoring than one might expect because that they run a fast tempo. They do score points, and they also their offensive tempo will mean we will have more possessions as well. So I'm thinking Mizzou does win, but it's going to be like a 27-24, 31-28 type of game. Yeah. Lots of big plays on both sides.
I said 31-28. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Mizzou.
Lots of big runs for Mizzou. Lots of big pass plays for Mississippi State. We didn't mention him, but Brennan, what's his last name? Thompson. Brennan Thompson, very good deep threat receiver. He averages 18 yards per catch. Yeah. So that's scary.
He's like 5'9".
He has 800 receiving yards. He averages 18 yards a catch, which means every time he catches the ball, it is an explosive play. 6 touchdowns, which is fine. Not incredible, but fine. So he's going to break 1 or 2. That's just what's going to happen. But they're going to be able to. The defense will be able to stop their run game enough that it's just going to come. They're going to score on big plays, which is the only way Mizzou gives up touchdowns anyway.
I mean, this staff is a smart one. They know what they should be doing. Now, they don't always do it, as we saw against the A&M game, but they realize that their strength is on the ground, and they realize that it does them no good to have Mississippi State's offense on the field. So they're going to play, the Gary Pinkelism, do what we do, but really drag this thing out. Now, I think that's working against them is that defense is going to give them, like you said, big runs, several of them that go for touchdowns. So you're kind of inadvertently going to speed this up, at least from a possession standpoint, and get Mississippi State back on the field, which is the worst thing that could possibly happen. So yeah, I do think that this game plays in the 12, 13 possession range, probably 70, 80 plays per each side. And yeah, a lot of explosive plays, a lot of them, both sides. So I would say 31-28. If you want to win another game this year, like, this is your best bet. And this is senior night. Like, let's do this, guys. Let's please do this. Get this done. Please get to 7 wins. Yeah. You feeling good? The last home game of the year? Feeling good?
Yeah. Night game. That'll be fun. The weather is going to be incredible. So I think it's a high of 73 for mid-November is ridiculous. So I'm very much looking forward to a all-day tailgate.
There you go.
And, get nice and juicy for the 6:45 kickoff. Hopefully the rest of the Mizzou fandom does the same. Get to see the light show again. Haven't gotten to see that much of that. I guess the end of the A&M game, everyone had left by that point, by the time it was dark. And last time I did that was the South Carolina game. So that will be fun.
Did not anticipate you calling yourself juicy, but that's just how this show is going to go today. But that's it. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. We leave a comment or rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hurst. Of course, you can follow the Rock M flagship at Rock M Nation and our podcasting outlet at Rock M Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, M-I-Z.
Z-O-U.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.